Okay, I think we can just start the session today. So before I let VJ introduce about the publishing on IPT, I'd just like to uh explain about we have two sessions today. So the first part will be the data publishing session. Like we will learn how to publish your dataset on IPT, and then we will have 15 minutes break, and we will be back to the closing session. In the closing session, we will have the review of each session. So we will ask you some questions, and we have some information to announce also. Okay, so VJ, I just give the floor to you.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So first I will just introduce some data publishing concepts just to kind of revise a few things that we have gone over and to share some new information about what exactly is data publishing. And then we will actually go through a few steps of how to use IPT. So in this course, we have been, you have seen this slide many times. We have basically covered how to convert your raw data sheets. You capture the data, you standardize it, then you clean it, refine it, add some more information, validate it, and now you have your data file ready to be published. So the last green block of actual publishing, writing the metadata for it, mapping the Darwin core, specifying the license is what we are going to talk about in today's session. So what exactly is data publishing? So data publishing is very similar to publishing a book, where if someone is involved in writing a book, you prepare a draft, you go through several versions, you keep on refining, make sure the author, the users or the readers might understand it, reorganize it a little bit. And then finally, once you feel, okay, now my book is ready for publishing, very similar to that, your data, you go through iterations, fill in the gaps and make sure that it is ready for consumptions of the users in case of so what is data publishers this thing. So it's data publisher is very similar to a big book publisher, who is like it's an organization which will uh, get the content and take care of the management of the content in the sense of publishing or in the book printing. So that's the kind of parallel. So it's very similar process. Only difference is in case of book printing, physical books are available. In case of data publishing, we have to keep the data online, and that is the responsibility of the publisher. And that is the reason GBIF lets publishers publish the data and not individual researchers. So you have to go through a publisher. So the main purpose is to keep your data online so that GBIF is able to index it and serve it to the users according to their queries. So for keeping this data online, we use IPT, or the Integrated Publishing Toolkit. So what is IPT? IPT is actually a software which we can call as a server-side software, which sits on the server, and what we do is we just use that software, and what we do is we basically upload our data to that particular software, and then we uh, provide more details to actually publish it on GBIF. And then once it is published, the data access is then provided by gbif.org, the GBIF index, and then different users can retrieve it in different ways. So in a sense, it's a copy of the data that GBIF retrieves every time to build the index. So what we are going to use today is the training IPT or the test IPT. So uh, we are pretty safe in using the training or test mode because it has a limited reach. It is not going to like make your data go online or public. It's going to be in a test environment all the time, and only for a testing purpose you or other people can look at it, like your co-authors. You can look at it and decide whether it looks all right, does it need any changes. So it's basically going on the GBIF's test server and not the real GBIF server when we go through the data publishing on the test or training IPTs. But in the real time, once we use a real IPT, the data is indexed and then public can immediately start download and citing it. So that is the difference between the test IPT and the real IPT where we publish data on gbif.org. So IPT in essence is a tool which helps us construct a Darwin Core archive file, which is what is indexed in GBIF, as well as this is now becoming a fairly well-known format that even some other servers can take a Darwin Core archive process and understand what you are doing. So as of now, how Darwin Core archive works is every dataset, as we have discussed earlier, has one core file, and then there are either zero or multiple extensions to that core file. So in that sense, it's some kind of star topology. You have the core in the center and everything is basically linking to the core file through the specific IDs. In case of occurrence core, those are occurrence IDs. In case of event core, those are event IDs. In case of taxon core, those are taxon IDs. Basically using those IDs. And as I said, the data set can have 0 or 1 or more extensions linked to this particular core. And what basically extensions do is they add additional information like sometimes measurements, sometimes uh, additional taxonomical information, identification, history. So the simplest form is just one core and no extension. Typically, occurrence core can have just one file and there are no extensions required. You can have a couple of extensions linked to the occurrence core. Like I just mentioned, there could be a measurement or fact. So if you have measured your specimen or your observations in some way, you can add that, or you can have multimedia extension where you can attach sound recordings or videos or photographs to those particular occurrences. And then you can have a taxon core with again some occurrences and some distribution extension. You can have events with again measurement and occurrence extension. So you have the events and you have the occurrences, and then you also have the you can also have the measurement of facts. The typical case study that we looked at had that kind of information, but we have to remember that once the data goes on GBIF, most frequently searched things are occurrences. And if you have events and if you don't have occurrences, they may not become searchable. And the first data set type that we said that you could also have only metadata, and then there is no actual data linked to that. But in that case, it will not create a Darwin Core archive, but the metadata can be seen and searched on gbif.org. So just to explain a little bit or kind of reiterate how these cores and extensions work. So as I was mentioning, there has to be a core ID that links to all the extension tables. So in this case, the taxon ID 1 is for a particular thing, and there are different names for that vernacular names in the vernacular name extension, which are linking to, if you look at carefully, all these first three records have the taxon ID 1, which means these are the vernacular names in different languages for whatever taxa described in uh, taxon ID number 1 record, which is in this case ostrich. And similarly, we can have, so we can have one to one or one to many, or sometimes no vernacular name also, then you don't have a record with that taxon ID in the vernacular name extension. This is how basically the cores and extensions work. So when we are publishing the data, we have to make sure that these IDs exactly match with each other. So again, kind of revisiting, now we have kind of reached to the data publishing stage. So obviously, before that, in Monday's session, we have looked at the data is already validated, and we have looked at the flags and kind of sorted that to make sure that our data is really ready to go on GBIF. So these are basically just in brief kind of concepts about data publishing with GBIF. Any quick questions so far before I go to the next section? Yes, Nick.
What happens if you want to unpublish? Like, what if you, I mean, I don't mean, there could be good reasons for that. Say you have a collaborator who gets too far ahead and publishes a data set before you've finished with the analysis, or you realize there's an error or a rights and benefits issue with what you're doing. How easy is it to go backwards? Or is that creating more problems that you then have to work
I mean,
with? Yeah.
Technically, it is fairly straightforward, though it is not recommended because it creates a lot of deleted records on GBIF, and
Okay.
they might still show up in some searches for a while, and issues like that. It's in most cases it's easier to fix with improvements, and fixing is fairly common.
So if you have, say, a article embargo date, and you have to, one of the conditions of publishing is the actual journal article is to share your data, and you choose to do it through GBIF. Should you do that after it publishes, or should you try to make sure that you are, can you identify this is maybe a more detailed question for like using the IPT. Can you schedule a release date for your data so that it is exactly matching the journal's embargo
Yes, you
information?
can definitely schedule for publication. That is
Okay.
possible. But more and more journals are now accepting the data set already published and cited in the journal paper. And it's becoming very common practice. I have even seen PhD students publishing their data before that is published. It's becoming very common nowadays that you publish the data and then you cite it in your paper or your thesis.
Yeah, I could see doing that when you don't have novel taxa, but if you are naming new taxa or
Right.
even a single one, then you don't want to get ahead of the publication date for
True.
them.
You can always kind of stage it, keep it ready, and the day your
Okay.
data is already published, you hit the publish button. It can just remain
Okay.
on the IPT unpublished.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Abdullah?
Yeah, so when I try to practice the IBT, it says public and private. Is that what you mean by saying publishing? Like, should we choose private and we can share like a link for a reviewer or co-author or someone like that, and then when we are ready for publication, hit public? Is that what you mean? Is that the
Yeah.
same in the test mode and also the regular mode?
Yeah, I mean, both things. Either you can do it on test mode so it doesn't go anywhere at all. Anyway, make sure that it is not registered so it is not indexed on GBIF. So the moment you hit the register button, it goes on GBIF and then it's available for everyone. As long as you don't do that, it is not shared on GBIF and it still remains on your IPT and you can share the link to specific people. Lee or Melissa, you want to add anything to this?
Just that the private and public thing is like just for you. I mean, if you're not ready the data set to be publicly visible to gbif.org, then you just keep it in private and share the link with anyone. But if you want the data set page to be visible after publishing, you must make it public and then register with gbif, because that's something you cannot see before making it public or registering to gbif. The actual how the data set would look like after publishing. But if you want to see if before it goes to actual gbif.org, you can just try publishing it in a test environment, and then the test environment would show you exactly like how your data set would be displayed after you publish it in gbif.org.
And like once you publish it to GBIF, you can always like update your dataset and republish again. And like we don't like suggest you we suggest you not to delete the dataset if you want to change it, or like just keep the DOI link and accessible. It would be better. And if like someone just already cited your dataset, it was also keep the URL like be valid. Okay.
Yeah, Sheikh?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I was wondering, the publishing, and I mean, should be always, I mean, a Creative Commons, I mean, CC4, there is no other options, only one option.
Sorry, I could not hear you in between.
Okay, sorry. I mean, the data that's we are going to publish, I mean, the license for sharing, it's only one option. I mean, this Creative Commons, the upper one that can be freely distributed and modified and so on. Or there are some other options, let's say by setting by invitation to certain individuals or certain institution or certain group of experts.
There
So
are three,
yeah.
three options, but yeah, mostly the data has to be uh, some sort of publicly available form, then only GBIF can index and distribute it, right? So by publication, that's what you want to do, right? Or am I not getting the question right?
Yeah, I mean, it's freely available for audience to modify, to reuse, to reshare. So that's the aim. So
Yeah,
if
I
I'm a
mean,
user, yeah.
yeah, once I download the data, it's not going to be only one organization's data. I'm going to get an aggregation of a lot of data from different publishers, and I'm going to do some analysis to publish my own result based on it. So it has to have some kind of open license, then only users can really use it in their research. And that's the whole purpose of publishing on GBIF in some sense. Yeah. Okay, then I'll go ahead and uh, I'll just briefly introduce how IPT works, and then maybe I can also give a quick demo, but I have sufficient screenshots in this presentation. So we'll see how it goes. Most of you have already done it. Just log in into the IPT. So we have provided you account. So your email and this particular password is what is created. You can always, after login, you can always change your password, but this is the default thing that we have given, and I think most of you have already logged in. If you still have any problem in login, we can definitely help you. So once you log in, you get a screen something like this. Where you get a list posted resources available on the particular and when you want to create a new data set on this particular IPT, you should just go and click on manage resources. And then once you do that, you get a again a list of resources, but you also on top you get a create new button, which is which we typically use to start a new data set or a resource. So we click on that, and once we click on that, it gives a very basic menu. It asks for a short name and type. So when you are specifying a short name, remember you cannot use spaces, but you have to use underscore, and make sure that the name you are providing is both meaningful and also try to make it unique, because this particular thing is these are training data sets, so almost everyone is going to call their data set some variation of training. So training and maybe your initials or something to kind of make it unique and doesn't get mixed up. And then you can select the type. In most cases, it will be either occurrence or sampling event, but depending on what type of data you plan to publish, you can select the type and then hit the create button to get going with dataset creation. So once you do that, it gives you a complete page with 6 different headings, and then on top again you have the delete button, and you can always delete it if you think you have made a mistake. There is no harm in doing these operations on training IPT, but make sure when you are doing on real IPT, keep these experiments to the minimum. So there are 6 sections under the resource creation page. So first section is to the source data, where you upload or link the source data. Then you specify the Darwin core mappings, which table, which data, where to map these things. Then the third important section is metadata, where you need to write in detail metadata to make your data set useful when it's publicly available. Then you can set the visibility of the data set. And then the publication section, you have to select a publishing organization, and then you can, once you are ready with all the other sections, you can hit publish and see whether it's passing through all the checks and whether it's getting ready to publish. And once it is published and you think that it is all ready to go public, you can do the registration. So these are the steps. Registration is done only once. So after that, if you keep on republishing, it is directly available for re-indexing. So these are the kind of 6 steps, and we will go through them one by one. So for source data, basically you just click the add button and add your data files. Typically, in this case, we are going to either use Excel files or CSV files. CSVs are more recommended. So you can hit the add button and go and choose the files that you want to upload for this particular data set. And then those files are uploaded. You can see them in something like this. And then you have options to edit and see what's there into those files. And remember, the source data files are these core and extensions files that we are going to upload in this particular section. So you might have one file or you might have multiple files depending on what core and what extensions you are going to use. So once the file is uploaded, you have option to analyze and see it. But if the file is well formatted CSV file or Excel file, you should not have any problems. It will usually read and parse pretty well. Once that is done, once you have the files ready, then next you go to mapping data. So for mapping the data, make sure that you first select what kind of data set you are making. So whether it's occurrence, whether it's sampling, or whether it's taxon core, make sure that you select that and then click add. Once you click add, there will be a drop down box with all the files or tables that you have uploaded. Then you have to choose your core table first, select that and then click add. So again, revisiting to the cores and extension sections, one by one you should do this for initially for the core and then the extensions, and make sure that all the files are mapped properly. Once you click on select, it typically maps all the columns fairly well if you have named them properly. If you have not, then you get a list of unmapped columns. You can use the button of unmapped columns, see what are the columns unmapped. If there are any spelling mistakes or if there is any different name that you have used, you can manually go and select those to make sure that every field that you intend to publish is mapped to the right Darwin core field. And you can always keep on saving, and then once you are done with all that, click the back button and go for the next mapping. So once your core is mapped, you can again go and map extensions one by one. There is a list of extensions that will appear, and you can select depending on what extension files you have. You can go on mapping them one by one. In case of occurrence data, you need to remember that basis of records is a required field, and you need to make sure that that is specified. In case you do not have that, and if the basis of record is same for all your data, you can also set it within the IPT. Next is the metadata option. You need to go and edit the metadata. Hit the edit button, and then it has a long list of pages and options that we need to go through one by one and fill. there are a few fields that are required fields. We have to make sure that those are all filled in. So publishing organization and data license are required field. You need to provide a good title, which is typically something like a title of a research paper or something. The title should be self-explanatory to explain what data set you are publishing. You obviously select type and subtype, whether it's occurrence or taxon or what core, and in case of occurrence, whether it's specimen based or observation based, all these details. And then there is a description. Again, description, if you are more from research background, it's something like the abstract of your research paper is what you typically write in description and fill in those details. And then next section is again very important section is of the resource contacts. So these contacts are, we have to remember that these are also used to generate citation. And this is the place where you typically list kind of all the resource creators and the resource managers into their respective section. So you need to make sure that you need to have at least one resource contact and one resource creator, but depending on who all have contributed to that particular data set, you can add information of all the people and that too in a particular sequence that you want. So make sure that you add these details, and there is a facility to add the organization, the address, the contact information like phone and email. And you can also attach the ORC ID or Wikidata ID depending on what IDs people use, and it's strongly recommended so that people know who is the exact researcher you're talking about. So these are the details you need to be filling in. Then you can also have a section of associated party where you can list some additional contributors. And then there are sections about taxonomic, geographic, and temporal coverage of the data set, which you need to fill in. There is also a facility available to automatically infer from your source data. So if you do not know the geographic coverage, you can just say automatically infer, and depending on the data, it will draw a binding box, but you can always write descriptions to that. So these sections can be filled in. In case you are participating in the publication challenge, you have to use a specific identifier in the project identifier section. So make sure that you use that. Otherwise, project data is not a required field. Oops, sorry. And then one of the important sections is the resource citations, because most of the authors or creators are very particular about their name showing up in the resource, and we also need to give them the right credit. So the resource citation will kind of provide the author names and a data set name and everything with version, and then it will create a citation. So make sure that that is either typed properly or inferred from the names that you have all entered. In case of sampling events, sampling method section is very important to be filled in for event core. And in case you are digitizing the data from collections, collection data page needs to be filled in. So I think we have looked at most of the pages here. Once that is done and the metadata is saved, you can go and set the visibility and set the publishing organization. Right now, for our exercise purpose and testing, we can just select training organization and try and publish the data. If all your steps are correct, everything is in place, it will go ahead and publish the data and create the and if you are fine with that, if the Darwin Core archive what you have created looks like that, you can go and register the data set. Remember, we are doing this on training IPT. So when you register it, it will be visible on the test GBIF website, where you can actually in a few minutes see the data set, how it will look on gbif.org website finally. You can also look at the issues and flags there and try to fix them. So that's the stage that you can test out here. And once that is done, as you can see in the bottom of this screenshot, you will see the page of this particular data set, and there is a GBIF UUID. If you open that, you will see how the data will look on GBIF while we are doing this on test IPT. If you are on real IPT, it will actually go online on the real IPT. So as I guess, application is a process where you actually create a Darwin Core archive, and then GBIF picks up that file and indexes and makes your data available in various kinds of searches. So these are the details that the publication page is showing about your Darwin Core archive and your EML files. So not every publication process might go well and smooth. Once in a while, you might get some problems and you might get some kind of error. In this case, if you see in kind of red pink color, there is an error. It says that each line must have a occurrence ID and each occurrence ID must be unique. So sometimes if Excel has added a empty line at the bottom of the thing, the data set, when we are parsing it, it might feel like a occurrence record with blank occurrence ID, or sometimes if you have duplicate occurrence IDs or things like that, you will get this kind of error, and you need to fix that before the data is published. So you can go back and look at what is the problem and troubleshoot it. So yeah, as I was mentioning, this is the final step, and you get actually the GBIF UUID, which will show you the complete data set on GBIF. So this is the final part of registration. And once the data is published, it is visible in GBIF searches. It can be seen in different ways. It will show in different kind of spatial queries or taxonomic queries or any kind of queries. The data will start showing. So in a short time, we are going to go and do the exercise of actually trying to publish a data set on our own. So again, remember, you have to use your email and this particular password. You don't have to remember this. If you forget, we will tell you or put it in the chat, but basically you have to go on these IPTs and do it. So I'll just go over on a few kind of frequently asked questions, or what kind of things happen after the data set is published, and then we will actually go for the exercise. Most of the times people ask, okay, how long before I actually see my data set on GBIF once I publish? So once you publish and register, it depends on the size of the data set. It might take about an hour typically, but it again depends on a lot of factors. So it's always good to wait for a few hours or maybe a day before you really raise issue to the help desk. If it doesn't happen in a day, you can always either contact us, the GBIF team, or help desk to find out what is happening. So that's on how much time it takes. Can I change the dataset type after I publish? Yes, you can. You have to make those changes and do everything in the mapping as well as changing the metadata, and then you can republish and it will change the type of your dataset. So dataset type can be changed. Can I change the publishing organization? The simple answer is no. It can be done, but it is a very, very complicated process. So preferably publish the data set through the organization that you really want to publish is the easiest thing to do. But if you really need to do it, you need to get in touch with help desk and you need to make sure that all the people involved and listed on the data set are on board to make that change. Can I install my own IPT for data publishing? Simple answer is yes, you can, but you don't really need to because there are some IPTs being run by different and there are a few web-based IPTs being run by GBIF. So it's much easier to use one of those IPTs. Let someone who really knows how to manage do it, and you just use the server to publish it. But for some reasons, sometimes bureaucratic reasons, if you really need to run your own IPT, yes, definitely you can, but it needs a lot of training and resources. So that's all I wanted to kind of present. Do we have time to give a quick demo of data publishing, or do we want to jump into actual exercise? Do we have any questions? Andy, you said something?
No, maybe a demo. I see there's some people asking for a demo in the chat.
Okay. Okay, so I will do that. If there are any quick questions before that, I'll very quickly show the upload and mapping. Okay, then I'll go ahead and do that. Just give me one moment to set it up. Okay, can you see my screen now? The IPT one?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just using training IPT-C for the time being. So once I log in, this is where I reach. I can maybe log out and show you from the beginning. So once I come here, I click login. I have my password saved, so I'll just go ahead and log in. Now it shows here that I have logged in. Since I want to make a new data set, I will click on manage resources and I will go ahead and create a new one. Okay, so I am going to show you the same one, the butterfly monitoring data set. So butterfly test VB. I'm just putting my initials because several people might use the butterfly test name. And I know that it's a sampling event data set. And I say, okay, great. So now you see the page with those 6 menu items here. And so first thing I need to do is add the source data files. So I click on add, I say choose files. So you can download this. You see practice 3 for publication file. But the problem is the file is in Excel and it has 4 different sheets. So mapping those is tricky and we realize sometimes it is not working. So what I have done here is I have saved each of these sheets as CSV files. So I have the event as a CSV file. I have the occurrence as another CSV file. I have extended measurement of fact and Humboldt. These 4 are my so 1 core and 3 extensions. These are my files. I say open. It shows me those 4 names and then I just hit upload. So now if you see, I see those 4 files uploaded here. This says it has 10 rows and 26 columns, 39 rows, 5 columns, 10 rows, 14 columns, 88 rows, 14 columns. So it looks good. So I have 88 occurrences for these 10 events. And then I have these measurements and these Humboldt extensions to that. I'll go to mapping, click on mapping. This is my event core. I'll say add, and I have to select now here my events table. And then just say save. So what it does is it automatically, because I have named all the fields correctly, it says it has auto mapped 24 columns based on the header names, which is excellent. But there are also a couple of unmapped columns. So unmapped columns, institution name and project title. So these 2 columns do not really have Darwin core fields. So I'm just going to ignore them. Excuse me. So now if I just scroll through these columns, I can also hide the unmapped fields and just look at the mapped fields, the 24 fields, and look at how the data is. So it says event ID is mapped to event ID, and these are some of the sample event IDs. Similarly, language looks good. Access right looks good. Dataset ID, they have provided some. Institutional code is provided. Dataset name is provided, which looks good. Information withheld, there is a write-up on what they have done. So that looks all right. Event type, event dates, they look all right. Yeah, event time. So all these details are fine. So I can say that, okay, these are good. I can go back. Once I go back, I see that I have the core mapped here. Now I need to map the extensions. Again, I'll go here, look for extensions. I have occurrence extension. So I'll say go add occurrence extension. Again, from the menu, I choose the occurrence file and say save. Now it says that it has 15 columns mapped, but it says basis of record is required. Looks like I do not have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for where is the basis of record table, and I can actually provide a default value. I can map it if I have the field. I can map it to some field, but I do not have a basis of record field. What I can do is I can just say all my basis of record are human observations because this is a survey. So I can just select that and save. Now I do not have any unmapped fields, and all the fields that are mapped look all right. Phylum, kingdom, everything is mapped correct. Scientific name. So I can go back. Similarly, I can keep on adding other extensions. So I have a measurement of facts extension. I'll add the extended measurement of facts here. Again, it's very straightforward, simple table. I can go back. I also have a Humboldt extension, so I can go and add the Humboldt ecological inventory extension. Select the Humboldt table, save. Back. So my mapping is done. All the tables are mapped properly. The next part is actually writing up the metadata. So I'm providing a name. Short name is not required. It's sampling event where there are observations taken. Language is English. I can provide a suitable license, and now the description. So for description, what I can do is actually I can, for the time being, I can just go and borrow it from the course material. I have the use case here and there is a description here. So I'm just going to copy it. Obviously, when you're working on your own data, you can write it up, but I'm just taking a shortcut because I quickly want to show you how to do it. And then the maintenance is as needed. So all the required fields here are done. I'm going to save it. And then resource contacts, I can add any resource contact. For the time being, I'm just going to add myself. That's it. I can always add other things. I can add the ORG ID and all that stuff, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing you that. But essentially, this is what is required. Then I can go to resource creator. I'll just assume right now that I have created it. So I can just say copy from my first contact. So that information is here. Metadata provider. If there is someone else, we can add associated party. Save it. I do not have acknowledgements right now, so save it. Here, you can automatically try to infer the data. So looking at the data, it says that it is from this part of the Sweden, right? So that looks good. I'm just going to write that it's from Sweden. Then I can automatically infer again the taxonomic coverage. So it says animals, it is listing all the way up to families. They are all butterfly families, so looks good. Actually not, there is one moth family in this, but that's all right. It's a Lepidoptera survey. And then I can also infer the date range. It says the data is from this date to this date. That's fine. I can again save this. I can always write additional description. I'm not going to go through that. Keywords not essential. project data here, this is where you are going to add your project ID, identifier, and some name here. Since it is sampling event, we can add sampling details here. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. I can just auto generate. Since I have listed only my name, it says that this is a data set created by me, and then it gives whatever is the name I have written. It's a sampling event data set, and it gives you the complete citation. If the data is from any scientific collection, you can list that. Other details, which are again not required, you can fill that in. So I think this is a good enough metadata for me to just quickly show you. Now this is done. Now I can go ahead and change the visibility because I'm on test IPT. I'm not worried. And then when I hit publish, it will tell me that you are not, I have to select an publishing organization. I'm going to select it as training organization. And now that I have the organization selected, I can actually try and publish the data. And when I'm publishing, I need to say, so I'll say initial test publish. And then, so it says that it has completed the publication. So I actually have a dataset version 1 published. Now, since it's a test dataset, I don't have to worry much. I can just go ahead and register and see how it is going to look on GBIF. Obviously, this is going to take a little while, but I'm just going to quickly show you how you can see. So I'm just using this particular link to open. And now it is showing me basic metadata. It doesn't process the data yet, but in a few minutes, it will actually show me all the records here. So this is how the data publication process is fairly straightforward. Once it is done, you can always go back and repeat. You can change the files here, and you can keep on improving the things till you are really ready to make it publicly available. And once that is ready, you can also, if you want to publish it on real IPT, you can download the Darwin Core archive from here and take it there. So these are the kind of basics of publishing. So I always say that publishing on IPT is just remembering in a sequence to click a lot of buttons and select a lot of drop downs. It takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of reading to make sure you are filling everything right. But in that sense, once you do it once or twice, it's a fairly straightforward process. Any questions before we get into breakout rooms and start trying it?
I just like clarify again the project ID is the one I pasted on the chat box is like EV dash West Asia 2026 DM. So just like use this for the practice data set on the training IPT. Okay. Okay, so the breakout session, are we going to start, BJ?
Yeah, I think if there are no questions, we can go
Okay,
to the
so
breakout room. And
it's 1 hour. Welcome back. By the way, this is the last breakout session for the whole workshop. So congratulations. This is the final exercise. And do you have any questions about the IPT thing?
Was everyone able to finish all the steps and register the data set?
I'm still having challenges with invalid resource metadata this is from our breakout group, but
Invalid resource metadata.
yeah,
So some required field is not
no.
filled
I've
in
been
with the
doing
right value.
I'm doing the validation report and it still comes back with the same challenges. So it's okay. I will not hold people up.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking whether the metadata was not filled completely. Does the metadata shows incomplete on the main overview page?
Yeah, the validation report says it's incomplete, but then, when I go into it, I fill out all the problems and it still doesn't work. So,
Andy,
I
you wanted to
found
say
it
something?
odd. I found it odd because I followed through with what we had done and mine went through. So there must be a missing required field on yours, Nick.
okay, well, I'll check. Thank you.
Andrew?
Yeah, this is actually an ignorance on my part, I think, which is a bit ashamed to say, but I've always been a little bit confused about the difference between visibility, publication, and registration steps. And I was just wondering whether you could clarify the difference between making something visible, publishing something, and then registering something.
Okay, so visibility, if you do not set it, no one except you can see what's happening inside. By you, I mean the person who has created the resource, plus if you have added anyone as manager. Once you set it visible, then you can show it to other colleagues and say, okay, look, this is what is happening. And publication is the step where it actually tries to create the Darwin Core archive. So it checks your data and make sure all the things like it has a unique occurrence ID or event ID and they are linked with each other and all that stuff. Also checks quickly the metadata that you have written are all required fields filled in with the correct type of stuff and then creates an archive. And then the registration is the switch that you switch on to send it to GBIF. GBIF ingestion engine or whatever you want to call it, to then start processing and putting it into either your test site or your final production GBIF website, depending on which IPT you are.
Great, great. So at the visibility stage, that's where you create a URL to the data set that you can then share externally with people. Okay, got it. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Dia?
Yes, hi. So from the IPT, we can see there is a publication date. So you can choose a publication date for your data. But how far it goes? Can we select like there is a limitation for it, months, or we can say 2 years or something like that?
I have not really tried it. Does anyone know the answer?
Well, I will understand there is no limit.
I think there's no limit.
We haven't tried it, honestly. Like
Yeah.
we just whenever we publish our data set, we publish it immediately. So really, one
I
has to
think
try.
like 2 years is sure for the setting.
I can just
So
double check on that as well. That's
Fine, okay. I have another question. It is not related to publishing, to another session. more likely. It is about the ID for the environmental protection. Is there a column for that in the spreadsheet for the data?
I did not get exactly what you are looking for. Can you repeat?
Many samples now, natural samples, are supposed to have an environmental protection code for handling and so on. So I'm asking if you have this kind of column in the spreadsheet of the data.
Not that I'm aware of, but we will have to look at Darwin Core and see if there is any.
Is that similar as the IUCN thing?
To be honest, I don't know what it is called. I haven't, but I know it's necessary for certain data to have this ID.
Okay, so for protection species like that?
It is, I think, something related to some international treaties that the handling of the sampling is in abidance to these laws, collecting and handling of these samples.
If you have like the real example, you can like just share it with us, and then I think we can know it better and suggest you which terms you can use.
Yeah.
You can
I
send us
I
by
don't have
email
one
if
right
you
now.
have. Yeah,
I mean, you can email us
yeah,
anytime.
you email us later.
Okay, thank you.
Hannah?
Yes, I think maybe Dahlia, she's mentioned about some species related to the Nagoya Protocol, for example, like plant species or something for trading or like moving. Is this is what you
Yes,
are
yes,
mentioning,
exactly.
Dahlia? Yes,
Yeah,
so
yeah. My name is
maybe
Dia.
Dia, I'm sorry. So I think she is mentioning about if some species they have specific concern that the living species specimen we are transferring it from, for example, from Jordan to Lebanon, and such thing they have under the Nagoya Protocol and Cartagena Protocol. So it's should be mentioned because sometimes they use it for medicine or some economic purposes to protect the DNA and something. So this is maybe the one that Dia mentioned.
Okay. So like what I like think about, there is one extension, but like maybe closer to what you need is species distribution. And there is like, for example, there is a terms we call it like threat status, but it is like the example is from the IUCN thing, but you can also um put it provide a, I think, I'm not sure if establishment means or degree of establishment or like something else like would be also fit for this case. And you can take a look to check some terms in this extension. Enter.
Yeah, just on that point, I think there is some work around how to fit those kind of codes into the standards. I just give us just a little bit to find some background information on that, because I know that some of our nodes, for instance, have been working very closely on developing standards for bringing in that kind of information. But yeah, let us follow up off the back of that. But it's a good point to raise here, and we'll have a look to see what the best way of fitting that data would be right now.
I Hope everyone is back. Please like give me a thumb up if you're back. Okay, great. Seems like okay. Everyone, I like there are some like participants say maybe they will be need to like leave in a few minutes for another meeting. So I think we can have the final selfie now. Yeah. Okay. So please like turn on your camera if it's okay for you to share the image. Okay, I hope everyone is ready. Okay, and 3, 2, 1,
No,
smile.
I'm not ready
Oh, okay, okay. And then wait for
because my camera is not working. One second. If it
okay.
work,
I just saw
no,
your
let me.
face. Like
Yeah, but my camera is always doing this.
okay.
So I'm sorry, it's not working. So go ahead, guys. I don't want to delay you.
Okay, okay. Then like 3, 2, 1. Wait a minute, let me check. Okay, I think it's good. Thanks everyone. And then we will have like closing session now. So we just like have the quick review of each session by like asking like maybe 2 to 3 questions from the trainers. Okay, so the first would be the data capture part. So Lily?
I think it's been a while that we have done data capture, but I have very simple questions for you. Just to, remind ourselves of what we learned in data capture. So the first question would be, can you please tell me the types of data set that we can publish in GBIF that is supported by GBIF? Yes. You can either unmute yourself and speak, or you can also write in the chat.
You mean the kind of data that's published in GBIF?
Yes, yes, yes.
So like sampling events, occurrence, checklists. There's a fourth one. Somebody.
Yes. There's a
There's a
fourth
fourth
one.
one.
That's the basic one, actually.
Was it taxon?
I'm
Somebody
right.
else. Dia, are you speaking?
Yeah, is it taxon?
She has already said checklist. No, no. You've already said checklist. Checklist and action is the same thing. We have a simpler data set that actually do not contain any record of species,
The
if you remember.
metadata.
Yes, metadata only, right? So the very simple and basic when you are learning about GBIF, right? Knowing the types of data set. Metadata, checklist or taxon, occurrence, and sampling event data set. So the next question I have for you is, remember when we're talking about the type of data set, I was telling like event is the most complex form of data set you can share with GBIF. So can you please tell me how event data set differs from other type of data set like checklist and occurrence? Why do we, why is it a bit complex and how does it differ basically? We have been working on event data set all the time, so I think should be able to.
It's based on observation, so it's like the kind of data that's collected is also different. Sometimes it's different methodologies, different you don't get always the same data because it could be different things.
I mean, observations is something we also share with occurrence data set. We didn't actually deal with an occurrence data set in our session this time, but I just wanted to ask like a particular difference between when we are saying an occurrence data set and a sampling data set. You remember, I think it's because it's also confusing. Abdullah, you want to say something? You've unmuted yourself, I see.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like the occurrence data is actually where we actually answering the main question, which is what organism was found where and when.
Yes.
While the event data, if I remember correctly, is actually what is this sampling event happening and what is the data found during this sampling event.
Yes.
So it's not just like one observation and a specimen found in a specific place. It's just like a survey, site visit, like any other kind of sampling data and reporting all the events happening within this with this type of record.
Yeah. So exactly the difference is that like with occurrence you just have observation of in organisms from any methods that you use, but in sampling method you also tell the users like what sampling methodology were followed, and in particular sampling method which organisms you saw. So the basically the complexity I was talking about, you remember, is having one data set, only one data set for an occurrence data set, and having two data set. Like you remember we worked on event core and then the occurrence extension, which is like a compulsory files for an event data set. So that's basically what I was, but then yes, you are correct that the differences between an occurrence and a sampling event data set. Can you name a few extension that can be used along with the core? I think that should be easy. We have dealt with few extensions today's session only. So yeah, just give me a names of few extensions that could be used with cores we have, type of data set we have.
I'm thinking of measurements and multimedia. Um,
Yeah,
mm,
measurements
yeah.
and multimedia.
Measurement and facts.
Measurement and facts. Yeah, measurement and facts is what we worked on today as well, right? Extended measurement or fact extension. And Farhan, you were talking about multimedia. So we have a named extension called Simple Multimedia. Maybe Melissa or Vijay can just help me paste again the link of rs.gbif.org with all the extensions so people can refer to on that. And the last question I have is which Darwin core term is used to link any extensions with a core? So you have a core and you have an extension. So which Darwin core term will you use to link the core and extension? So for example, if we're talking about a sampling event core, because event data set is what we just worked on while publishing as well. So if you're talking about a sampling core and then you have an occurrence extension for sure, right? So which field will you use to, link these two cores and extensions?
The core
ID,
event
sample
ID.
ID.
Yes,
The
event
event
ID.
ID, yes, the event
Event
ID.
ID. Nice, very good. I mean, with each type of data set, we have a unique identifier. So with checklist, it's taxon ID. With occurrence, it's occurrence ID, and with event, it's event ID. You take the same term, same value for the term for all the extensions that you use with any kind of course. Okay, thank you so much. That was all the question that I had for data capture exercise. Thank you. That was nice.
Okay, thank you, Lily. And the next should be the data management part. I remember with the first part we learned like there are like two type of errors of your data set. Might be like found in the all the data. Okay, so there are like two types of the error. One is technical error, and the second is a consistency error. So let me show you the example. Please tell me what kind of the error it is. And if they have like subtype of the errors, please also like give me the answer. So what kind of this error of the data it is?
I think
The
it's
way
technical.
Yes. Yes.
It's technical, it's about
And
the data formatting.
Yes, data format technical error. And then this one, okay.
It's technical bounds.
Yes, correct. Yes, it's bounced because it's out of the range of in the future. Okay. And then if you found like taxon match fuzzy in the from the GBIF data validators, what kind of the error should it be? It's about the scientific name.
There's taxonomic. It's
Yes,
consistency.
yes, should be consistency. Okay. And okay. So yeah. And then the second part that we introduced many kind of tools for like data management, data cleaning, and like it's an open question. So like what tools, what new tool you learn from is like you think is helpful for you?
It was my first time to use OpenRefine, so
Yeah, Open Refine
I'll
and
spend
like
some
so.
time
Same.
with it.
OpenRefine was a nice tool.
Okay, Open Refine. Remember what else like we learned except the Open Refine? Okay. So we have like also like for matching the scientific names and also the date like
The
converge conversion.
coordinates, yeah. Yeah, the
Yes,
coordinates conversion.
yes. Also the coordinates. Okay. So any other like answers different from the Open Refine? Okay. Okay.
Actually, found other tools like the GeoBic and other sources shared last time was really helpful in either transferring the GPS data or working on standardizing the data itself.
Yes, thanks. Like GeoPick is also like a good tool if you have not yet like do the georeferencing. You just like have the location, but you need to set the like uh some like the coordinate in is that it? The coordinate in meters. So like they will GeoPick will provide you the detail with map with the Darwin core terms. Okay. Okay, the last questions is like related to the exercise of OpenRefine. So it's easy also like what are the differences between Excel and OpenRefine?
Open Refine can help remove and identify like bigger issues within the data set.
Yes, you mean like the bulk change thing?
Yeah, the bulk changes you can also like undo at any step, which at Excel you can't, because you can only undo what you've just undone or just done kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
But
also one of
also,
the main difference between one of the main difference is the OpenRefine is not for storing data,
Yeah.
different from Excel, which you can store the data in it and use it for viewing, sorting, or filtering the data, different from that. OpenRefine. Sorry for interrupting, Sheikh, if you
no,
can
no, no,
continue.
no. No, no, sorry. Yeah, it's just the same to the same direction. Yeah. I was also would like to comment on Excel because I used it to edit and refine data. The big difference is the visual inspection. Because in OpenRefine, you can see on the left side visual one. That helps a lot. Because Excel, if you have so many records, becomes with data filters so much uneasy to follow up
Yes.
if you are not, yeah. So these visual things with multiple tools dedicated for, because Excel is such a huge program for many other things, but OpenRefine dedicated for this spotting easily the data inconsistency and see them in visual way that helps you quickly clean up and eliminate this redundancy and so on.
Okay. Yeah, so like extended like one more extended question is that what kind of the feature it is you use in OpenRefine for the visualization and also the bulk change?
The clustering, you mean?
Yes, one clustering and another like the first step you use should be the
The faceting.
yes, faceting. So like faceting is the strong and powerful function I think in of OpenRefine. Okay. Yeah, just want to mention one more like there is a function of like the duplicate facet. You can find it in the customized facet. That is really also like helpful and like more convenient than do it in the Excel. Okay. Okay, that's all from the data management. Then data publishing.
Okay, the first question is, what is the most challenging step while using IPT?
I think answer should be the same.
What did you find the most difficult or
I
challenging?
can comment on that. So IPT is the extensive documentation actually. So if you want to produce really quality one without discrepancies, especially the metadata section, you have to be, I mean, prepare a lot text and make sure they are consistent, no discrepancies between them. And it might look easy, but when you want to do it properly, I think that would require a lot of time, I would guess. Because most of the time we have data, but we don't have the metadata. We have it there, but then when we start to think, oh, what is the metadata? What are the authors, the contributors, the location, the description, all this pop out that it's a huge task. But of course, it's set as a data protocol for to make use of this data, because without metadata, I think it's always not easy to navigate through or make meaning of the data itself.
What I
Anyone
learned
else
from
want to?
IBT, what I learned from IBT is if you really did a great job with the data itself, the files themselves, then the IBT should be easy. The main bulk is to standardize the data, clean it, and make sure everything is correct, and then IBT should be easy to go.
Yes. So just recollect and tell me what are the steps you need to take once the mapping is done and metadata is written. What steps remain to be done to make the data available on GBIF? Yeah, Abdullah, go ahead.
So you first start with making edit the visualization to be public. And then once it's public, it should take some time. And once it's public, you should be able to publish this for the IBT. So it's visible for the IBT administrators and for your colleagues. And then once the data set is published, you can then register this into the GBIF, so it's published on GBIF itself. So visualization, publication, and then the registration, if I understand that answer the question correctly.
About the two sections. One is the networks, where you can make the data available to other platforms like OBase or Disco or whatever you are part of. So you can just add that network, and then those services are notified, and they can also pick up your data and publish on their portal. Like OBase is a typical example. If you have any ocean data, you just do everything right in your IPT and just add it not only to GBIF but also to OBase. And the last one is assigning more managers to your data set. That's a good practice, because in case something needs to be done in your data set and you are not available, you're in the field or something, assigning another manager, that person can quickly go into the data set and make certain changes and republish if it is required. So these two steps we did not get chance to talk about, but they are also available in the IPT after the registration process. So where can you record the changes you made between the versions? Like you publish the data and then you had to change something. Where do you record those that, okay, in this, from the previous version, I maybe added 100 records, or I added a missing co-author for some reason, or whatever changes you made from one version to other, where do you record them?
Do you just record the dates of the changes? Because
No,
like
but
we have the first.
where in the IPT there is a place where you can write those as comments. Where is that? Do you remember?
I think when
In the
you try to
metadata?
make
Yeah.
it publish, when you try to publish it, then it will ask you what's the modification is happening. So you write that comments. So on what you are changing to publishing your data.
Yes. So the moment you hit publish for the next version, it gives you a box saying what did change from last time. And that's where you should record saying, oh, I'm adding 100 records, or I fixed 10 records lat long, which were wrong, or I updated the IDs of some of the species because I have specimen, I did some work, some new researcher gave me new ID. So whatever is happening, you can record it in that box, and that is then listed against every version in the list, saying, okay, from this version to that version, this changed. So that's a important kind of point to note. I think that's it. I don't want to ask too many questions. It's just today's section, but just wanted to highlight certain features that I might have missed while discussing. So I think now floor is open for any questions before we close. Is that the section now?
And oh, sorry, I also like paste one, like its feedback form. It's like please fill it out to help us like improve our course next time, and also like let us know like what's your feedback, or what you do you think about this workshop. And yeah, please like ask questions for all the session if you have.
I'm sorry, Melissa, but sounds like the evaluation feedback is restricted. If you can give us access.
Oh, did it? Okay, let me. Um, did you like logging by the Gmail?
No, even for all of us, it says you need
Oh,
I
access.
okay.
just used the institutional email.
Okay. Let me see. Um, okay, I think it's updated now, the access. Please like refresh your
Yes, it
page.
is. It is available now.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions?
You can also complete the evaluation form later on, but I think it's time, if you have any questions throughout the course, it's time for you to ask, and yeah,
Yeah.
we can discuss anything that we could not address maybe
Yeah.
in the individual modules.
So ask it this question, but further explanation here. In the file we used today for the exercise on the GBIF test, the date, the event date format is not the one we usually use, or the ISO format recommended by GBIF. Although it was successful upload to GBIF, and it was like it doesn't flag anything. I didn't change it in case this is required by the course, but it was different format. My question is, will that like change anything later? Is there any probability of missing any data later if the date format was in the recommended ISO one recommended by Darwin Core?
Can I?
Yeah, Lily.
So I'm actually not sure whether, I have not confirmed whether the original data has the same date format, the date format that we use for the date or not, because I just copy pasted each, the data in each files and resaved it as a CSV. And sometimes when we are trying to resave it, it automatically Excel does this thing of automatically changing the date into its own format, right? That might have happened, but I don't know how the original data is. But in case that happens, you can obviously successfully publish the data set. But what happens later on after you publish the data set, if you see your data set page on gbif.org, it will flag the users saying that you have, recorded date in an invalid format. So that's where your in dataset page there is a tab called metrics. So if you look at the bottom of the metrics page, there will be a section on issues and flags, and there will be the users will be notified saying that your recorded dates are invalid. So that's how, although we can publish the data set for sure, that's how it will be, flagged after you publish the data set. And that's something metrics and issues and flags is under metrics issues and flags is something you should definitely look when you after you publish your data set to try and improve your data set. You go back, you correct all the format and try to republish it so that your data set does not have any kind of issues. Vijay or Melissa, if you want to add anything on that.
I'm just like doing this. If you go to the gbif.org and search for the occurrences that you go to, it's not including in the course, but like just I said, like if you check the all filters, then go scroll down for issues for other, then there is a filter for issues and flags, and you will find like some occurrence that has like invalid or mismatch recorded date. So invalid one would be like the example you mentioned about. It's like if it's not the format suggested on the Darwin core terms, then the system, the gbif.org, will not like able to uh like index the dates. So we can check with the maybe invalid one and check like what would it seem like.
And in the data set on the individual record also, it shows that the date was altered. I just shared a screenshot in the chat. So something like that will happen with each of your record if it is not in the right format, but rather than totally discarding it, it has taken it in with the hope that whatever alternation it has done is right. So
And any other questions?
I can also ask general questions. How long we can keep the demo account after this training is over? And if it's also possible to convert the demo account to live one.
So we do not typically remove demo accounts for a while. So it's going to be there. You can use it for creating real accounts. Obviously, once you have your organization registered and you are ready to publish, we can definitely help you with creating accounts on the suitable IPT. Typically, we use the virtually hosted Asia IPT. So that is hosted by Secretariat, and we use it for most of the data publication where the country nodes do not have their own IPTs. So we will definitely create accounts for you on that to actually publish the real data. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. But for the creating the account for organization, so we should guide one representative of the organization, or just anybody with domain email can create. How if you could spell some detail on that.
I mean, typically GBIF wants you to list 2 or 3 people who are like administrative contact, technical contact, things like that. If you have looked at um, the publisher endorsement form, that is what they look for. So that should be uh, sufficient. You want to add something?
Sorry, the last part I couldn't
Yeah, I
hear it.
think
The last
you
part.
can finish answering and then I can.
Yeah, so I was saying when you go to the publisher endorsement page or the registration page, it will typically ask for 2 to 3 contacts. You can list a technical contact, you can list administrative contact, and you can have 1 or more researchers listed as contacts. So uh, it's recommended to provide 2 or 3 contacts so that someone or the other is available there to respond to whatever queries you get.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely answer this. Yeah, thanks.
Um, I just had additional information on the training IPT. So I just wanted to suggest all the participants that whatever you are doing for the training purpose of this particular course, you are trying to publish, for example, the assignment, files and things like that. You can certainly use training IPT, but I think for when you are trying to publish real data set later on, you want to, before publishing it in a production IPT, you would want to test publish it. I think it's better to use a test IPT. We have a separate test IPT for GBIF. This is basically for training purposes, what I wanted to say. Beyond training, if you want to publish real data set and you want to test it in a test environment first, you can request us the account access for the test IPT that we have in GBIF, and we can provide you with that along with the production IPT access.
So like for first time, if you want to publish your data set, that we will like check your we will help to like review your data set if it's like qualified and be able to publish it on the production IPT. So we will check the data set on the test mode, and then if it's there like all fine, we will like create an account for you on a production IPT if you need one. Yeah, just like depends on if you want to use the Asia regional IPT or you have another like preference for the IPT thing. Okay. Ahmed,
Yeah, thank you. But to continue on this question, so if we actually I send by emails to request the demo or the demo versions to for GBIF to practice. Is it different also from this one we are training? Is it big difference? And then what's the process to have the real account? So do we have to contact you, or we contact through the registered person from the organization? Because I check on the organization, it's been registered. So what is the correct way to approach for the real account?
I just want to add saying that whatever the process for publishing is the same, whether it's in training IPT, whether it is in test IPT, or whether it's in production IPT. So process is same. Only the difference is that we're trying to use training IPT for the training purpose like this. When you publish practice use case or your assignments, But just letting you know, when you have real data set published, you can use Taste IPT. So for creating an account, whether in a Taste IPT or a production IPT, you can always get in touch with us. We can we You have our email, right? asia_support@gbif.org. You can email us, or you can also directly email to gbif helpdesk@gbif.org to request an access for any of the IPT that you want to use.
Thank you. It's clear.
I'm pasting both the emails here, Asia support and help desk email.
Okay, if there is no like further questions, should we go like for before we end the session, like Lily will like explain about. Okay, Ahmed.
Yes. Yes, one thing is about a country to become a participant. uh, how this process goes, So I know there is a memorandum of understanding to be signed, but how, if you explain how this process to be, this goes from the country up to sending officially through organization or through emails, or how the process is going to be a participant for a country.
Yeah, I think this is like go to Andrew to answer it to be better.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so if you're considering joining GBIF, typically, well, the process is that you will send us a letter of interest to say that you're interested in joining GBIF, and within that, you will state whether you want to join as a voting or an associate member of GBIF. At that point, we will send you the voluntary memorandum of understanding. It will ask you for that to be signed, and this should be signed by someone who has the authority at a national level to sign this document on the behalf of the country. At that point, once that has been signed, we will ask the country to identify the head of delegation for country. So this will be the person that will come to the governing board every year. And they will also be asked to assign the node at a national level. So who will be acting as the national node at the country? So an organization and a person as well. We have templates for letters of interest, for all of the process, and I'm happy to send those to those that are interested as a starting point. So if you are interested, I would say contact myself in the first instance, and then I can provide you all the kind of templates that you would want to need, and we can also organize meetings at a country level as well with people to discuss the membership process. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Drew. Thank you. I will be in contact. Yes, thank you.
Okay. And there any questions else? Okay, if not so far, you can still ask that a bit later. So maybe like Lily I can explain. Okay, Andrew.
So are we going to be closing the session kind of now?
Not really. We are like explain the last thing, like we have the final things to announce.
Okay,
But
I just want because before that, I just want to say first of all, just to all the participants, this is a new format, new training materials. I just want to say how great our Asia support team and our mentors have been for handling all of this situation. So I just want to give them a round of applause before we.
okay. Thank you, Andrew. And like it's quite encouraging because like it's really our first time to yeah to try this new mode of course. Okay. Okay, and then I just like let Lily like explain the final assignment you will need to do after the workshop is like the homework thing.
Thank you, Melissa. Let me start by sharing my screen. This information is something I will also be sending you with an email after the session ends. So I will just explain it through the course space that we have. If you go on the assessment and certification section, you can see all about what you need to do next to get certified for the skills that you have achieved in these 4 days of training. So you will have to submit assignments, uh, which is basically the same that we have done, similar, not same, but similar to what we have done during these 4 days. If you remember the practice use case on butterfly monitoring, how we have captured the data, managed, cleaned and validated the data, and then today published the data using IPT, right? And you remember there was a exercise sheet for you to note down everything that you have done. So you will have similar files to be downloaded and used in your assignment that you are supposed to submit. So upon completion of the course and when you submit the assignment, and if you receive, we will do grading for the files that you have submitted. And if you receive designated scores, for example, 2.5 to 2.9 out of 4, that is, you will receive a basic biodiversity data mobilization badge. And if you achieve higher than 3 to 4, then you will receive an advanced biodiversity data mobilization badge. So this is a digital certification for the skills that you have achieved during this 4 days of training course. You have to submit the assignment all in English. We have different use cases. There are 5 use cases, and you can choose 2. You can choose any 2 that you can complete and submit for all of the 3 modules that we have learned. So for each of the modules that we have for data capture, data management, and data publishing, we have educational rubrics. So these are the skills that you will be assessed against, for the files that you have submitted. You can read through it before before you do the exercise, so you can have an idea of how you can get 3 or 4, which level of submission is required for that. So you have a educational rubrics for data capture section. You have data management. When you do this, you will get 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can have a look in that before you actually you submit your files. You start working on the files. It's a good idea to have a look on the educational rubrics. When you look at the use cases, there are 5 use cases for you to choose any 2. Remember, only 2 that you need to complete and submit. There is birds from literature, herbarium specimens, historical marine data, invasive species, and Lepidoptera sampling. It sounds similar to what we have done, but please do not submit files from the practice use case that we have done. You have to choose from these 5 use cases, any 2. And for each of the use cases, it will look similar to what we have done during these 4 days. There will be a scenario for you to read. It will tell you what is the description of the for the use case, how the data set was collected, how you can, what's the thing required for data capture, and so on. And it will also give you instruction on the exercises that you need to complete. With each use cases, you will have this exercise sheet where you need to note down all the things like we did in the practice use case. You need to answer some questions there. So also fill out the exercise sheet along with the practical thing that you're doing. For example, for data capture, you will create a Excel file, right? And you will have all the Darwin core terms, and you will, get data from the scenario, or you might have the log files as we had in the practice use case, and you can prepare a data capture file. In data management, you will already be provided a file, so you just need to clean it, find the errors, note it in the exercise sheet, and submit. And lastly, in the publication, you will have a file ready for you to publish. So you just download it and publish it in the training IPT that you have access to. And then you just submit the link of the training IPT in your exercise sheet. So that's what you basically do. You need to complete the exercise here, and you need to fill out in the exercise sheet as well. So these are the five use cases. Choose any two. Again, choose any two. And then after you are done everything, you have done data capture exercise, you have done data management, cleaning and validation, you have done publishing, you have to submit your files along with the exercise sheet. So we'll have four files. We'll have three files basically. One is the completed exercise sheet where you will provide us the link and answers to some of the questions that is there. The second one is the data capture spreadsheet. So the standardized data that you have prepared out of the use case, second file. And then the third file is based on what data is provided for you for the data management course module. You have to clean and standardize and, provide us the final cleaned and standardized data set. So you will have to submit three files: completed exercise sheet, data capture spreadsheet, and cleaned and standardized data set for each of the use case. So you'll have two use cases. For each cases, you'll have three files. So a total of 6 files that you need to submit. And you'll also need to publish the data set in IPT, training IPT. Just for the use of, letting us know who submitted which files, we would recommend you to name your files like this. For example, include your name, or basically name would be easier. So name, you write name, and then you write the name of the use case. You remember there were 5 use cases, so you can write, for example, if you are choosing invasive species, you write invasive species, and you say whether it's exercise sheet, whether it's exercise 1 or whether it's exercise 2, because there will be 3 files, right? So you name it this way so that it will be easier for us to recognize whose files is this, and do the grading later on. After your files are ready, you have renamed it, please submit it through this page, which is not being shown in my side. So you can click on this submission site if it's not shown in your also, and you will be taken to this page. You can provide your email address and you can upload your files with the correct naming. So that's all you need to do for the assignment. I don't remember, Melissa, we have 1 month for the submission, right? From today.
Yes.
So you'll have around 1 month to submit the exercise. I will check, I'll confirm and send that information also in the email that I'm sending later on. But this is all about assignment that you need to submit. All information are there in the course page. You can also have a look, also refer to the email that I'm sending later on, and work on that. Any questions for the assignment? Yes, Abdullah, you have your hands up.
Are we submitting any other files other than the use cases, the exercises we did earlier in the course?
Sorry? Sorry, can you repeat once again?
My question is, are we submitting any other files other than the use cases? Like for example, the exercises we did earlier in the course?
Yeah, so I mean, you are not supposed to submit the exercises you did earlier for the use case butterfly monitoring. But for the 5 use case that is there in the assessment section, you choose 2 and complete all the exercises. You have 3 files for each use case, and that's what you submit for the assignment.
Yes, just remember to choose 2 use cases and like not include the practice use case. Okay, butterfly monitor one just for the exercise in the Zoom session.
You do not need to submit us the files for this practice use case.
Okay. Okay, let me announce the back, like one last thing you already know, but I just want to remind you is that we have like data publishing challenge, and like start from today to until 26th of June.
Melissa, we are
And
seeing your Slack.
oh, sorry. Say why is the wrong one? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the right one now.
Okay, so it's like yeah, start from today and to until the 26th June, and then you will need to endorse your you make sure your institution or organization are registered as a GBIF data publisher and be endorsed in the Asia IPT. And then it should be the new data to GBIF. So, and you should choose like CC0 or CC BY license on the IPT. And the data issues should all clear by like validating on the GBIF data validator. And remember to provide the project ID. So the same as the we use it for exercise today. Okay, so here is the registration form, and I also paste the link on the chat box. Okay. Okay. So that's all for the workshop. And yeah, I don't think, do we have any else to announce? Lily, Vijay, or Andrew?
We do have a
Yeah.
mailing list, GBIF Asia mailing list, where we post about the office hour that we organize, any other events that are happening, or upcoming training programs like this. So I highly recommend you to sign up for the mailing list. You typically get one email per week or even less sometimes, but that's
Or
one.
if you fill out the evaluation form in the last question, we will get you will see the link of the mailing list.
Yes. Evaluation form at the last there is a link.
And other thing we already talked probably is the Asia Open Office Hour. Every Thursday we have a 1 hour slot where me, Melissa, and Lily are available online to ask any questions, any discussion regarding biodiversity information happens in that 1 hour. It's a very informal setting. You can join anytime, ask question and leave, or just join and listen what others are discussing, or things like that. It's very suitable for uh, people in South Asia. A lot of them just join while they're eating lunch. They're like muted and video is off, but they're listening to what we are discussing. So in whatever way you like, you can join. And if you have specific questions, you can just join and ask us rather than asking for a meeting. I mean, obviously, if you email us, we will definitely find a time to meet with you one-on-one, but that's like a place where you can just stop by and ask questions. So a lot of people like it. Wanted to tell you about that, and that details also we will send by email, but it's on Thursday. India time, it's 12:30 to 1:30. So maybe 2-3 hours here or there, depending on what country you are, but that's the time we are there.
Yeah, we will paste the detailed information in the email also. Okay. So like yeah, next week if you have like still have questions but was not able to ask here, you can still like join Asia Office Hour to ask and also maybe have a quick review of the sessions. Okay, any other questions about the workshop?
There was one question about making the recording available. We will do it in next 2-3 days. Just need to
Yes,
process
we
the
need to
video.
like process it and click,
Yeah.
yeah, and click the video. So just please wait for a bit.
Excuse me, I
Yes.
just have a quick question regarding the rubric of the challenge. So how you will evaluate? So like regarding the case, regarding the data, what are your
Yeah, that we will not like the assess about the amount of your data set. So like what I mean is like even a small data set would be we also encourage you to publish on GBIF. So like in the registration form, you should tell us like what amount of the data you want to publish. Then we just like make sure, yeah, what kind of data you have. And the criteria we will like for the publishing challenge is we will check your quality of the metadata and if there are like some data issues in your dataset. So these are the two, and the third is the CC license you use. So these are the three criterias for the challenge. Yeah, quality is more important than the quantity of the data.
And before that, we need to be registered entity in your website, correct?
Yes. Okay, Abdullah?
It's actually not a question. It's I just wanna to tell everybody thank you so much. It was an amazing learning experience. Thank you, Melissa, VG, Lily, Ram, and all the mentors. It was an amazing experience, and I'm excited to participate in further trainings. And thank you so much. It was very important experience for me.
Thank you so much. Just thanks for your feedback.
Yeah, I also need to log off because I have another meeting to jump into. But thank you so much to all the trainers and to everybody for the interactions. It's been fun. I learned a lot. And yeah, good luck to everyone. I know good luck to myself trying to do this new exercises and submissions. But hopefully we'll see you all soon. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye. So if
Thank
there is
you. Thank
no
you.
question, yes, just say goodbye to everyone and hope to see you soon online and HF is
Thank
out or
you.
contact by email. Yeah.